sacrificing and killing babies and things like that, but we want you to sacrifice to the Greek gods. I don't know if that was the problem. Meaning, I don't know if their problem with the Hellenistic influence was the practice of sacrifice, or if it was the fact that the Hellenes or Hellenistic ones that caused confusion wanted them to start performing ritual sacrifices to strange gods, meaning the Greek gods. Now, you have the Ashkenaz, who are probably from Armenia, and then you have the Ashkenazim, which is a modern term that refers to German Jews. And then you have those Jews that are Sephardim, which are Jews of Spain and Portugal. So I'm saying that to say you got a bunch of factions of people going on here, and as such, you can't really put all of them in the bag, in the box, and, oh, the Jews are this and the Jews are that, because just like a lot of people have been infiltrated and had people get in their bloodline, I'm sure that this has been the case as well. And I'm not saying that there are not Jews that are killing, I'm sure there are Jews that are killing babies, bleeding people, raping people, committing incest, sodomizing children, stealing children, the whole nine. I guarantee you that's going on. Guaranteed. But I think the same thing can be said about a whole lot of other so-called races of people across the globe, probably because they've been led astray, okay? Now, having got people cleared on these various factions of what you call Jews, you can't put everybody in a bag, in a box, because we all know people that are so-called Jews that are probably not participating in this nonsense. You got to remember there were so-called, for lack of better words, what everybody perceives as Jewish youth that helped with the whole fight for liberal rights for our people upon the would-be fake and fraudulent release of the so-called slaves, because, as you know, no one was freed, because when you take the term employer is the new word that replaced the old word master. When you take the word employee is the new word that replaced the words servant or slave. When you take the word supervisor is the new word that has replaced the word overseer, and that information is in your Black's Law Dictionary, 5th and 6th edition. I'm not sure if it's in the 4th. It probably is, but I know for a fact that it's in the 5th and 6th edition. Just look in your Black's Law Dictionary, look up master, look up employer, look up employer, look up employee, look up supervisor, and look up master and servant. And it'll tell you, it'll be real clear to you that this slavery thing never ceased. What they did is they took people that were a particular type of slave and liberated them, or made everyone think they did, and then created a whole new type of slavery that they put every single person into. Now, the reason I have to keep going back, and I know it's like, when are we going to get into the whole liberation of America? We can't get into the whole liberation of America until we go back and address some of this very stuff here that we're talking about. One of the things that I want everybody to know is the definition of a couple of words, so you can pull this together like I'm talking about. Now, before I give you that, let's go back to Simon. No, actually, I'm going to pass on Simon for a second. Let me give you this word. The word is Rab, R-A-B, which is the root word of rabbi. It is the Italian word arba, and it's an island off Croatia, which is in Yugoslavia, in the Adriatic Sea. It is one of the Dalmatian islands that was under Venetian rule from the 10th century until 1797. The Palace of Venetian Governors is the medieval palace of the former archbishops, which now stands in ruins, and the ancient walls of these ruins formulate the ancient walls in this area. Now, because like I've told you guys, when I look up a word, I read every single word on the page that looks even remotely like the word I'm defining. I look above the word. I look below the word. I define the words that define the words. I look in, if it's a word that I would find in a legal dictionary, then I look in the legal dictionary. If it's a word that I would find or I think that I may find in a Latin dictionary, then I'll look in that dictionary. If I think I may find it in the Strong's Exhaustive Concordance, then I look in that particular book. If I think I'll find it in the Columbia Encyclopedia, then I'll look there. And then I may look on the Internet and see what's out there about that. Okay? So below that was the word Rabbah, spelled R-A-B-B-A-H, or Rabbath, spelled R-A-B-B-A-T-H. Rabbah is Amman, A-M-M-A-N. I'm tying this back together for you guys. It's a city in the North Jordan which has its capital as the royal residence. Now, Amman, spelled A-M-M-A-N, is the biblical Rabbah, R-A-B-B-A-H, or Rabbath, R-A-B-B-A-T-H, which is the capital of the Ammonites. It was rebuilt and renamed Philadelphia by Ptolemy II. And Philadelphia contains some notable Roman ruins. And I'm saying that to tell you how these things tie together, because I keep trying to tell you guys that this Roman Catholicism is very heavily wrapped into this Phariseeanism or Judaism or Rabbinism, where this whole get-down is all about going after the children for different types of ridiculous rituals. Now, I'm sure there are rabbis that don't have a clue about this stuff. I don't see how they could not have a clue. However, if they're reading the works, they should know. Just like there may be some Catholic priests that don't have a clue about this stuff. I don't see how you could know. It's almost like saying there are police officers and sheriff deputies that are not aware of the abuse and the lies and the fraud and the misrepresentation of information that's entered into police reports. So people lie on the report and they lie on the stand, and it's kind of hard to say that you could be a law enforcement officer and not be aware that this kind of thing is going on. You may not be participating, but you've got to know that this is going on. Now, you may not know what to do about it, but I don't see how anybody can be that close up under a thing and not get a clue what's happening around them. And I'm not saying that if you know what's happening around you that you should stop participating, because maybe some of these people think that they're there and to help. Maybe they figure there's the way they can help. But I don't see how they can. Now, I'm going to tie this stuff back together for you. In the Holy Roman Empire, this information came out of my Columbia Encyclopedia. And as a matter of fact, somebody was having a problem. I'm glad I thought about this. Somebody got with me, and they were having a problem with what I was saying about the Roman state coalescing from a bunch of tribes. And where did I get that information? Because they couldn't find anything. Because, again, if you can't find it, it sounds like I'm making stuff up. That information about the incest and the tribalism of the Roman state and how it coalesced into a state, that came out of my Columbia Encyclopedia. And I was looking up something, I don't recall what I was looking up, but that's right up under the word Roman Catholic Church. It's all right there. It's like a whole, page and a half of information that I had to, they know most people are just not going to read that much. And a lot of people, even when they read, they're not going to comprehend what they read because they don't read the way I read. They don't know how to read between the lines, and they don't tend to look up words that are in the sentences that are being given to them. So when you say things to me, let me see, for example, if I can find, let me just see what I can find here.
Well, they was having a problem, what they was having a problem with, saying that the Romans weren't having incest with their siblings.
Well, they didn't believe what I was telling them. I take that back. I'm looking at the book. It's under Roman religion. In the Columbia Encyclopedia, under Roman religion. It's all laid out right there. And then once you read that, all you have to do is go back and confirm the stuff. Okay? It's plain as day to me. I know how to read. Simple as that. So for people that are
also all over there, it's also all over their paintings and even their writings, you know. So I can't see how anybody could have a problem with that.
Well, they've never heard it before. You know what I'm saying? You have to remember, if people have never heard a thing, it can be insulting to them because it insults their sense and sensibilities. A lot of what I say insults people's sense and sensibilities, and that's not what I'm trying to do. That is not my objective, to insult anyone. It is my objective to, one, pierce the fog and move it away so you can see what you see, so you can find your way out of this mess. You can't find your way out of a mess until you see that you're in one. So what I do for people, I don't know everything. I only know some things, mostly about words. Most of what I find involves me researching a word. When I start looking up a word, it takes me on this whole tangent that gives me a whole big picture. So, you know, that's kind of how I bring it together and pull it together. But people would want to have some information on that. Now, remember I was telling people the other day about Simon the Just. Did I finish talking about the Holy Roman Empire? No, actually I didn't. The Holy Roman Empire, many emperors had their heirs elected, okay, and crowned kings of the Romans, and by that they mean German kings. See, because people are like, well, how are you connecting Rome to Germany? And I keep telling people, well, Rome is in the heart of Germany. Rome and Germany and Italy and France were all one thing. They were all one thing. And then, what is the name of this father? It slips my mind because it was years ago that I did that research. There was a father who had 3 sons, and when he made his transition and so-called died, his 3 sons split the German Empire into these 3 separate things. But it goes on to say that the crowned kings of the Romans, by that they mean, I.E., German kings. The emperors had their heirs elected during their own lifetime in order to ensure the succession of their heirs. The coronation of German kings usually occurred at Aachen, spelled A-A-C-H-E-N. Several of these were also crowned king of Italy, and the Iron Crown of Lombards occurred at Monza or Milan. This is where the ceremony took place. Many emperors-elect were crowned by the Pope. But after the imperial coronation of Charles V in 1530, the practice ceased, and later emperors, by that they mean kings, took their title without papal confirmation. And these kings that were crowned later without papal confirmation, they were crowned at Frankfurt. So I'm trying to tie this together, the Germany thing, the Roman thing, and how this whole thing goes together, okay? Because everybody keeps thinking all this stuff is separate. It's not separate. The thing that's separate is the way people are taught information in schools, the way that the same people that control the school books, textbooks, radio, newspaper, even the Internet. It's been coming to my attention recently that the so-called government or somebody has been shutting down multiple Internet websites in the United States. See, everybody thought it was just Egypt. If they go to, now I think from what I understand, they tried to say it was an accident. Oh, we didn't mean to shut those down. We were trying to shut down pornography. Oh, yeah, okay, right. I bet you were. Considering that pornography is your thing, I seriously doubt that you're trying to shut that down, because that's easier for children to get to than some of the books that you can read online, the pornography thing. But they're shutting down things that they don't like, and because of that, I suggest that anybody that's online, if you go to a site and you see something awesome, you need to try to download it, select all, edit, copy, go to Word Perfect or something, and then go to paste and then save it as a Word document, get it offline and get it onto your hard drive or onto an external drive, because you may go there one day and find that it is not there. It is the same with YouTube. If you see an awesome YouTube, you had better download it, especially if it's hecka deep, because you can go back in 30 minutes and say, oh, this YouTube has been pulled because of this reason, or the other reason, and it's not there anymore. See, people do not comprehend how fast these people are moving because of how fast the people are waking up. They have to move double time to try to get ahead of